this is for people who are just starting new business, or they're thinking of starting new business and they want to raise fund for their business, but they don't know how to start the business and raise fund for the business. If you have an idea in your head and you think it's worth to be a business, here's what I want you to do. The number one thing I want you to do is write it down. The number two thing is do the SWOT analysis. And if you don't know what the SWOT analysis is, please search it. And I'll put it on my channel as well. But it's going to show you the strength, the weakness, and the opportunities and the threats. And that way you can get an idea about your business if it's valid. The third thing I want you to do is do some research to see how much market out there for that specific business. Is it a $10 billion market? Is it a $1 million market? Is that a product that you're coming up with gonna change people's life? Is it gonna increase the qualities of people's life? If you answer yes, then we go to the next step. And the next step is to spend 1 to 6 months in research. A lot of people ask me, how do I research a product? Well, let me share a story with you. When I first decided to open my accounting office, which is my first business, I did a little research and I started asking people a question. But the first thing I did is I started calling every accounting company in town and asking them if I can work for them for free for 3 to 6 months, just to learn. It was recession time, 2008, so nobody was hired. So nobody hired me, even for free. That's how tough it was, the market. The second thing I did is I started calling every single accounting company out there and asking them questions, pretending I am a client, and see how they react to me. How much would you charge? How would you do my bookkeeping? How would you do my tax return? I'm a client. I got so much information that's not even funny that I felt I'm ready to open my own business. So if you have an idea or a business, start calling your competition, because they're going to be your best resources, and ask them a question, random questions. What's the worst thing they can say? Hang up the phone on you. And that's okay. You'll call again. It's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. But the first month to this, from month 1 to month 6, just do research within your competition and start working on a business plan. Now, I'm going to do a whole chapter on how to build a successful business plan. So that will be separate, but you need to work on your business plan. The second thing I want you to do is a slide deck. A slide deck is different than business plan. A slide deck is about 5 to 10 pages, just the highlight of the business and how to make the business look attractive to potential investors. And then I'm gonna do a whole chapter on a slide deck as well, because I look at so many of those. So, and within 5 seconds, I will tell you this is a good business or not a good business based on the slide deck. But the only one thing I want to share about the slide deck is make sure you have a hook. Whatever that hook is, make sure you have that up front. Have testimonial, market statistic, and also your mission statement. What are you trying to solve? So now you have an idea. You did your market research, you build your business plan, and you're building your slide deck and you're about to finish. Now we're in month 4. What do? Then you go and set up a business on the Secretary of State, on any state you're in. The second thing, get a tax ID number, so you're official, so people can take you seriously. Build all your social media around it. From Instagram to Facebook to TikTok to Twitch, whatever it is, LinkedIn, all the social media around it. And you have to be consistent. Your YouTube channel and your LinkedIn must sync. Your slide deck and your business plan must sync. So when an investor is about to meet with you, guess what? The first thing they do is they're gonna search every social media outlet you have. And if there's discrepancy in one channel you're saying something, in the other channel you're saying something, you're gonna lose them. So you don't wanna do that. Now you're ready to talk to investors. That's the next step. How do you approach investors and where do you find investors? I get that question so much. The number one thing you want to do when you look for investors, there's a lot of, by the way, networking groups that have investors in them. You can look them up online, just do some searches. There's always local offices, government offices that offer a grant for new businesses. You can look them up as well. I just had a meeting with the SBA department here in Colorado with a friend of mine who runs that department actually. And I learned so much how much the SBA have grants for small businesses. And I can share those separately. I want to do a whole podcast actually with the director of the SBA next month. And we can talk about those, so tune in. That's where you can find investors. Also start talking to people about the potentially investing in you, or if they know any investors. But that's not where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is to tell you how to present your product to an investor if you're sitting with an investor. Because guess what? They're gonna look at your product and start learning. If you feel this way or they're doing this, no, your project is dead. So it's very important that you represent yourself in the right format. Now you might ask, what's the right format? Here's the right format. When you meet with an investor, do not jump directly into your product and start talking about your product. Nobody cares. What I want you to do, let's say we're meeting and you're about to talk to me about your product. Do not tell me what your product is. Ask me questions. This is how I do it. I just raised money for one of the companies I'm invested in, and we raised $3 million. So let me tell you how I presented this product. Met with the investor at a very nice dinner. You gotta wine them and dine them. You have to do that. And we sat down and I start asking the investor questions. Why do you wanna invest in businesses? What other businesses are you invested in? What makes you happy about those investments? So we'll ask them what other businesses, and they're gonna share that with me. I'm getting information here before I say one single word about my investment or showing them any piece of paper. And I start drilling them. You invested in this business? Can you tell me more? What's attractive about this business? See how I'm getting more and more information? And they're gonna tell you what's attractive, so you can use that information to come back at them, because now you know what they like and what they don't like. After I'm done asking them with the questions, I ask them personal question. Now I divert it. See, I move them away from the business completely. Now I'm asking them personal questions. Because they're gonna mention some stuff that's hooks for me, whether about their kids, their lifestyle, so start asking them personal. Now I moved away from the business and I'm building personal relationships. And that could take about 10 to 20 minutes. Now they're gonna get to a point and ask you questions. And this is where it's detrimental for you to be paying attention. They're gonna ask me about the business, and I asked for this meeting for potential investment. Do not jump again on the investment or the money. Tell them your dream. What's your dream? Because remember, investors don't invest in your idea. Investors invest in you. Because I invest in the operator, I don't invest in the idea. Tell them your dream. How big is your dream? How big is the market share? Don't say, until this point, we're almost an hour in the conversation, we did not say one single thing about my product. Tell them how big your idea is and how big is your dream and what are you doing to achieve those dreams. Let them ask you a question. Tell me about your product. Now I'm interested. And that's when you start telling them about that and show them the slide deck, not the business plan, but the slide deck, and share with them those key hooks from the slide deck. Don't read everything in the slide deck. Just share hooks. Whether it's a story that you solved or somebody solved because of something similar to your idea or not. And I guarantee you, once the conversation's over, you're gonna get one of those 3 answers if you follow this. Number 1, you know what? I cannot invest in this because of 1, 2, 3, but I know a friend who can invest in this. Let me make a connection. Let me be your mentor. Or, I really loved it. Let me look at your business plan and learn more. And the third thing, I love this idea. I want to invest more. None of those 3 ways are rejection. And of course, it's not going to work for everybody, but that's okay. But they're not going to leave you hanging or think you're just there to get a quick cash and go on your own. Now, I want to warn you from one single thing I see all the time business owners doing. Please don't laugh at this, but it's really true. I see it all the time. Please, please do not do it. Here it is. You meet with an investor and you're telling them about your business, and all of a sudden it's the same exact story by every single business person who does that. I hate this when they do that. They don't know me, I don't know them, and the first thing comes out of their mouth is the story behind the product. Nobody cares. Remember, nobody cares. And the story behind the product, I was sitting to my last penny and then I couldn't do it anymore. I quit my job and I did this, I cried, and give me the emotional side of the story. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know you. The investor doesn't know you. Do not start with that. Now, don't get me wrong. The emotional story is so important. Tearing is so important. And the vulnerability, the power of vulnerability, I have a whole chapter about the power of vulnerability, but in the right format. When I invest in you and learn more about you and see how your work ethic is so strong, then I want to know what's the story behind it, that you went down to your last penny and you struggled so hard, and I want to learn about that. Or when you're out there giving a speech after a huge success, you're telling that story, then everybody will be clapping to you. But do not start with that. Do not. Everybody has a struggle story. Do not start with that. That's my tip for you. If you have an idea or if you have a small business you're trying to raise money for. And good luck. Please subscribe for my channel because it helps me out. Keep using this channel to give you as much information as I can. And I'm going to leave you with one thing, actually. If a guy with a broken accent like me can achieve those goals and can achieve and build multi-million-dollar business, imagine you with no accent. You can do so much more. All you need